Hey, good morning, everyone. Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome to my segment on Craft Round the Clock, but you're also here on my Tinker's Cart art page. And we will get going in just a minute when we see people popping in. So thank you guys. It's early Monday morning, I know. But we'll have some fun painting today. We're going to work on a project that you might have seen a similar project last week on Monday morning. So anyways, welcome you guys. Thanks for popping in. Say hello when you are here. We'll get started in just a minute and we'll have a nice little segment this morning. Hey Lois, good morning. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Welcome. We're going to paint this morning. I'm Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art, and I love to paint and I love to craft. I love being here live with you guys, and I really love the Craft Round the Clock group. I was focusing on that this morning. Thank you, Lois. We appreciate you letting all your crafty friends know we're here. And hello again, Lisa. I feel like it's a goofball. But anyways, we'll schedule our other thing. So anyways, we're going to paint on the wood slice again this week. Last week if you saw me do this wooden slice with the Lighthouse. I'm going to paint another one this morning. Dark background this time. I think I'll do a little series of the wood slices or maybe just the lighthouses on the slices. What I did them originally on were these little ornaments. They're really fun. I paint all sorts of things on these little ornaments. I love to take the ornament. It comes like this. I just paint a circle. I just follow the shape really of the piece. Sometimes they're oval, sometimes they're more round. I leave a little bit of an edge so you can see that little wood grain on there. So anyways, we're going to get started. We're going to jump in shortly. I want to say that if you have any questions as I go and I don't see the question scroll up there, I will come back later and answer it. So good morning. Ordinary acrylic paints. I do like the Liquitex fluids. I do a lot of the Americana. It's whatever you have for acrylic craft paint, start with. I'd love to see you, even if you're just a crafter and you're interested in starting to paint, here is a good place for you to be because I'm going to show you step by baby step. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Barbie. Good morning, you guys. So let me jump in. All I did was sketch my little design in chalk here. Now, if you're in my classes or in my membership, I will supply a tracer for you to trace on. So don't worry if you want to start to paint, but you think, oh, well, I can't draw a stick figure. I can't draw. I'll always provide a tracer for you to get started. Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, good morning. So here I am on Tinker's Cart Art and Craft Around the Clock. And we'll jump in and we'll chat as we go. So please, like I said, I'll try to watch for the questions, but I'll always come back and answer. The replay will always be there. You can always come back and replay this, stop and start it, and paint at your own speed. Painting does not have to be difficult. It can be something that you learn if you have the desire. So follow along with me. I'm not using many colors this morning. I'm just using some white. I've got some Prussian blue, dark blue, red, black, and some phthalo green and blue. You don't need a lot of colors. And if you look close, you can see the house. This is an actual lighthouse. This is Nubble Light here in York, Maine. You've probably seen it. It's very iconic. I paint it in all seasons. Sometimes for this winter painting, I will paint little Christmas lights on it. They do a lighting of the Nubble in July, which is kind of fun. Christmas in July, and at Christmas it's lit up. But I go and underpaint the snow and the shading on the roof with that Prussian blue so that the snowbanks actually show up. Hello, you guys. Maria. Oh, Charlotte, welcome. Charlotte, I know we were scheduled for, I don't know why I had my other thing scheduled for 9 this morning. I think that was a mistake. You might have got the message, but we'll talk about that after. Oh, Jacqueline from Australia. I love to have people tell me where they're from so I can see who's far and who's near, and I love it. Thank you for watching. So let's jump in. Generally when I'm painting, I have my pattern traced on or sketched. Generally I'll paint from like the back forward. Sometimes move the top down so I don't put my hand in my paint, but I kind of look at what is in the back. Thank you, Lisa, thank you. And you guys, when you see my fellow crafters and people here with their business name, I encourage you to follow them as well. We have so many fabulous, talented people on Craft Round the Clock. So thank you from Kentucky, Marie. So I'm going to start with the lighthouse, work down into the snow, and then into the water last. And because I have base coated this with the dark blue, I can put a lighter wash on of the white, let a little of that show through as my shadow, and go back as I need to highlight and shade. Highlight and shading is what I use to make these two-dimensional pieces, canvas, board, slate, whatever, look three-dimension for your elements on there. It's a simple case of putting on sometimes it's medium tone, then you put some shadows in, you add some highlights, and all of a sudden, very simply, your object takes on form. So we'll show you how that will work. I'm going to take some white. I'm just using a little flat acrylic brush. And I'm going to just get that in kind of where I want to have the white showing up. So I know in this little, where the light is in the lighthouse, we want that yellow. But if you're painting yellow or orange on a darker background, it's so transparent in the acrylic paint. I base coat a lot of times in white. That way when I put this yellow on top, it's really going to show up. And I apologize, I'm painting upside down. Sometimes I use StreamYard and I come to you so that you can see my camera here. But my laptop has been in and out of the shop, so I'm going to paint it this way. I'll turn it when I can, but do know in my classes and in my membership, I have a dual camera system, and you can see just right when I'm painting. And I know that's easier, but let's just kind of jump in, and I think you can see what I'm doing, albeit upside down. I'm taking my white paint. I've added a little water. I almost wanted a little transparent, so a little see-through, because I'm going to use that blue underneath as a bit of a shadow. I'll add some more, but let's just get the shape of the lighthouse in. And you'll see lighthouses aren't that intimidating. If you want to go back and watch, you can see this painting I did last week. And I'm also be on next Monday morning at the same time, and we will do another one. I love these wood slices. It was just a big chunky wood slice. Someone gave them to me. I think they bought them for a wedding. I know for the weddings, the theming of the woodsy look, country look is in. So they bought them off of Amazon, just the big wood slices. So I know that you could search and find them. Or you could go out and cut up down trees, I suppose. Hi, Shauna. Iris, hi. I see a lot of new people this morning. If you're new to my page, welcome. If you're new to Craft Round the Clock, welcome. We have a lot of new presenters coming on with some new and great ideas for you. This is my favorite time, the fall, Halloween, Christmas. So it's going to be a lot of fun around here. So do follow Craft Round the Clock if you do not. 45-minute segments every day, every weekday, special events on the weekend. And it's always something different. So I will sometimes just listen. If I'm in the car or I'm painting, I'll put them on just to kind of listen. It's a great community. It feels like family here. You guys all know that. And if you are new, please, you will enjoy seeing all of the creatives. So what I'm just putting a light wash almost of white. Hi, Barbara and Helinda, over where the lighthouse, the white of the lighthouse is. And just a little bit of a wash. Same on this little building. Now, this little building is white. It's on top of white snow, so that's why we'll leave a little of the blue showing around it so it will stand out. My chalk lines will all erase afterwards, and when I put a varnish on, they really will just disappear into the background. I use a polycryl, which is a Minwax product. It's water-based, so you can wash your brushes out. I get it right at the hardware store, so it's pretty easy to find. So my white house is white, so I've got that in. It has a little bit of a basement across here that's gray, so I'm simply going to take, and I like it when you can see my palette too sometimes, so maybe if I can bring it, it's hard to have it all on the screen. I'm just taking a tiny bit of black and going into my white, and I'm just making up a gray, maybe a little blue in there. I like a gray that has a little bit of a blue color to it. Hey, Judy. Patricia's here. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. I love seeing you pop in. And I'm just going to go around, and it's got a little basement. See that little gray basement? Nothing big. We're going to spatter. You can spatter with a toothbrush or place little snowflakes after. That's great for obscuring anything you might not like in your painting. Do not look at your painting when you're painting like this in the middle of it and worry about, oh, it doesn't look right, doesn't look good. It's going to go through ugly stages, and then it comes around at the end. And we're too critical of our own work. Do you find that sometimes if you're crafting or painting or whatever, you're too critical, you set it aside, you look at it later, and it's like, oh, wow, it's actually pretty good. So I don't want to have you guys getting too critical when your painting hasn't even begun, really. Hey, Peg! Oh, I think of you so much, and we'll be heading back to Florida, and I feel bad that we didn't really get together. It was a crazy winter, but I miss you, and I can't wait to see you. Peg is my friend from first grade. And Peg, George jumps on a lot of times, our other neighborhood friend, so you may even see George around here. Part of this lighthouse is red. I'm doing it just like if you look up Nubble Light in York, Maine, you are going to find this lighthouse. I'm adding a little bit of black to my red so I have more of a maroon. If you've watched me paint, you know I paint a lot of times dark to light. We are our worst critic, and part of my job when I'm teaching and in my membership is just to say stop, stand back, look at it from a distance. Nobody's looking at it this close. Get 4 or 5 feet back to begin with, so don't even start with, oh my God, it's not right. It doesn't look like yours. It's not supposed to look like mine. It's supposed to look like yours. So it's not like we're trying to copy things exactly. Let's try to just develop our own style, like our work. If you don't like it, it's not the end of the world. What do? We just paint over it. So yeah, don't try to get out of that mindset, because really this is a hobby. This is supposed to be enjoyable, not something that you're struggling with and not enjoying. It's supposed to be enjoyable, and we try to make it that way. So it's a very dark maroon. I'm doing these red bits, which is the roof, and this building will be red, but I'm starting very dark maroon, and because why I'm doing that is so that I can go with a lighter shade of red after and give myself the highlight, maybe almost to an orange, which I might grab an orange because I think a little orange highlight after. But right now I'm basing things in, kind of like a paint by number, to be honest. And that's what I tell people. Let's just get the base color in, and then we'll go ahead with highlights and shading, or both, or sometimes just one. And that will start getting our objects to look three-dimensional. We have a great group here. How is everybody on this Monday morning? How was your weekend? I am here on the coast of Maine. It's kind of a rainy day today, which, to be honest, sometimes it's nice, isn't it, to be cozy inside and do craft projects and art? That's sometimes my favorite thing. I'll just take some clear water, and I just want to scrub away some of my chalk lines. Sometimes they make me kind of crazy. And sometimes I can simply take the blue that I used, and I could just go over it with that. I just want to get the roof line a little better there. This was a really, really dark blue that I used, which I may have it over here. Sometimes you can touch up by just painting a color over the edge of something. If you have the acrylic paint where you don't want it, sometimes take a little bit of alcohol, you can remove it. So there's little tricks and tips we can do to touch up our paintings when we need to. All right. Is everybody working on fall already and Christmas? I love that time of year, and I'm ready to start, but I thought we'd do a little more. I said this last week, do a little more summer. Actually, it was the week before last, you guys. I wasn't on last week. Sometimes in the summer I get a little busy, but I'm going to be on a regular schedule now, I think. So just the way the red bits are, just a dark maroon. I'm going to get another coat of, oh, you know what, there's some doorways and windows. Let's do those. I'm going to get a small brush. I do the little windows, kind of like just a dark, almost black, dark blue. And I sort of painted around these windows, but I'm going to put them in here now because with the dark, just to cover those chalk lines. And no reason I can't paint those upside down. So many cool lighthouses all over the country. I'm going to pick out some new ones to paint on some of these wood slices as well. There's a little bit of a window down here. There's a little door I know here. There's a little window on this guy. And this is like a little porch here, so we'll put a couple of windows there. And there is a little chimney, so we'll just do a little of the red maroon color up here. There's a little bit of a chimney, and we're going to put like a little curl of smoke coming out of it, which is kind of cool. This is a night sky, so we'll put snow afterwards, and even be stars in the sky, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to go with a heavier white now on that little square brush still, and you can see how it's just washy here. I'm going to go heavier white in the middle here a little bit, leaving the washy darker color under the eaves. It'll be like a cast shadow. Same around the windows. Getting just heavier white in the middle, and it's going to start looking like more of a building with little, under the porch will be a little darker. I'll do some lighter on the front of this little house here. I can still come in and do a wash of blue, maybe where I really need a shadow. And I'm just heavy paint. I'm not mixing this with water this time. I'm just going as it is on my palette. It's been out for a few minutes, so it is a little heavier, but we're just going to do that. When I brush on the Lighthouse, can you see how I'm curving my brush? I'm going to curve it and get the shape of that lighthouse a little bit as well. Leaving a little bit of shadow under the little walkway on the top of the lighthouse. So we're getting a little bit there of highlight. I'm going to even take the white, since it's on my brush now, I'm going to take it a little bit watered down. Oh wait, I'm going to just brush it on here very lightly and watery like it's glass, and then we'll put that little bit of yellow in the middle. The cap on the top is black, so we'll hardly see it, so we'll put a little bit of snow on the roof just so it will set it apart from the dark background. This gets a little window, but you know what I'm going to do? Let me just do it in white. And in the middle, I'll put the dark, and that'll give me a little white outline. I'm going to go now into just the red, strong like we did with the white. I'm going to mix a little bit of orange with it just to brighten it up a tiny, tiny bit. Have it a brighter red. Make sure my brush is dry. If I have water in my brush from when I rinsed it, it will be transparent, so I'll get a nice dry brush. And here's our little building here. If we just go on with some brighter red, I'm just kind of using just random brush strokes and going around this little window, leaving a little dark around the window, leaving a little dark under the eaves. I'll let that dry, and I'll build it up even a little brighter, because sometimes when it dries, it fades a bit. I want a little highlight maybe on this roof, so I'll do a little bit of that highlight there. And the same for any of these roofs. I'm just going to go in the middle, leaving my dark maroon around the edge. Just using little brush strokes. I like the look of brush strokes when I'm painting. I'm more of a painterly painter. I don't have to smooth it out perfectly, but yet that may be more how you like to paint, and that's okay too. I'm going to show you how I do it, but I do not expect you to worry about having it look just like mine. And you know what I did? I went a little high. I went a little high on this side, so let me just bring that roof up here a little higher to sort of make it even. That's all. And I'm going to touch up, like I said, and remove some of that chalk. It has a little red thin roof right along there. And again, I'm going to put a little white on top there, so it's like snow sitting up there. So a couple of coats, but it already looks a little bit like it has form. I'm going to do the same thing on some of the white. I'd go back and in some places make it a little heavier in the middle where it's brightest. But I just goofed up, and my brush of white came off onto the background. So look, I'm just taking a little brush with water on it and wiping that off. So it's easy enough to fix things. That's why we're not going to panic. We're going to just fix them. Hey, Lisa. Hello, everybody. Hi, Judy. Thank you guys for popping in. We have a great little group here for this morning. I appreciate you guys popping in, saying hello, making a comment. You know that when you're watching the presenters here or any of your favorites in their live, simply saying hello, simply putting an emoji really helps our reach out in the land of the internet. So simply just a little thumbs up or a little chat or say hello, let me know where you're from. Really helps other crafters and creatives to find us here. I left it a little dark under the porch on purpose so that I can put maybe some little, I know there's a little porch there with some, railings and things. There is a little door in there too that's red, so I'll go back and I'll just stick that in with the tiny brush actually while I think of it. There's a little door right here. And the windows, now it's nighttime, so we're gonna make a little glow from within. So I'll take just a little bit, maybe of a little slate blue, kind of like the grayish that we kind of had for the basement. And I'm just gonna go, these are divided, these windows, so there's kind of three little panels. So I'm just gonna kind of do that. A little dab inside of these dark windows. And then when that dries, I'm gonna put a little white and then a little glow like it's a candle in the window. Hi, Judy from Kansas. Hello, Suzanne. Okay, And I'm going to get out a little yellow because I neglected to, but let's put that little light in the lighthouse shining in. We'll paint the little cap black. Again, it's going to hardly be seen until we put a little snow on the edges. So we have 15 minutes, 45-minute segments here on our Craft Round the Clock segments. And so I use that as a little lesson for you guys that I know you might think, oh, I'd love to do that, but I just don't have time. But you can, you know, even if it's a half an hour you set aside, just even if it's sketching or just doing a little project, it really helps your day, I think, just creating something that you are proud of. And once you realize how much you could do even in a few minutes, you know, you're more apt to sit and do that again. And Cynthia, you're never late because you know when it's recorded, right? So this is great. You can come and go anytime and it'll always be here. And if you can't find it, sometimes just let me know. So I'm taking a little bit of black, do my little cap. You see I'm using, so far I'm just using flat brushes because when I use a flat brush, it's so easy to either get like a broad line or look at, I could do a really thin line as well. I will use detail brushes for some things as we go, but for a lot of it, I'm going to use just the flat brushes. And I'm going to put this little top of the lighthouse. It's like a little triangle with just a little straight something on the top there. I will come back with a liner brush to do the little railings and things, which, like I say, are hard to see right there. And I will grab my detail brush now because I want to put that little bit of white, or even if I mix, sometimes if I just mix yellow with a little white, the white makes it a little more opaque. And let's just see if we can do this in one coat. We'll take a little bit of a very light yellow, and in the windows, we just want a little glow. That's a little wet still, but we're just going to put a little glow in there. We have the little glow here for our lighthouse. And just the house, we'll put little glow in some of these windows in the house. And then I'm going to outline a little bit still. So let me get a tiny brush. A little, that's really teeny. You can hardly even see that. Let's try it. When I do detail work, especially with like a detail brush or a liner, I always add extra water to my paint so that it flows better. I can get a longer stroke. I can get more work in before having to reload again. So I'm adding water. And it is a little bit of a trick. Sometimes you don't know, like, how much water do I add? Just try it. Trial and error. Put some on. If it's too thin or it drips, you know you need a little more pigment. But I'm going to go ahead and almost make these little lines for the outline of the windows inside the black I already did, instead of having to go and outline them in black. If I just do this, I went inside the window and just made little lines. I'm not trying to make them perfect. I almost make a lot of this little detail work wonky on purpose because then people aren't expecting it to see a perfect line. Very rarely will I worry about rulers and perfect lines. We don't need to do that. We want it to look hand painted. I can go back and outline it if I need to. Same with the little doorway there. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to make a few little lines here that are going to just kind of be steps coming down from the house. I know there is there. And I know they have some little railings. So I might go across with the white. This is a stronger white over kind of a washy white. So it shows up enough that we don't have to, do it in a darker color. It's just a little something. We can always outline things again if we want to. The lighthouse has a couple of these little, I'm going to go with the white first. It's just a couple of these little lines that you don't really see yet. See those little lines? But when you put a shadow under it, then you'll see it. So I'm going to take a little bit of a watery gray that we've mixed up already, kind of a blue gray. I'm going to get it kind of watery for this. Sometimes when I'm doing a shadow, I make it a little watery so it's not like a harsh line as a shadow. It's more of a little watercolor line. So if I just go underneath that is all I'm going to need to do to make those little lines stand out. Like I said, the red faded in a little bit. Let's go with the red again, kind of strong, mixed with a little orange, and just put a few little strokes in the middle of the roof, on top of the edge here. Even a little straight orange if I need to. It'll read as a red. It's not going to be a bright orange. Oranges and yellows are tough to go over dark. So if I do a little bit here, it's not going to be too bright. a little bit of a wisp of smoke coming out of that chimney. Watered down white is all we need. And it's just going to be a little bit of a thinned down, watery smoke coming out of the chimney there. Coming along, right? And we still have 20 minutes. So thanks, Anita. Hi, Gwen. I did, and we've still got to do our snow, which is pretty quick. But let's just finish up the house. So I'm going to take strong white, rough across the top here like this, like it's snow. A little snow could be sitting on top of the chimney. Doesn't it stand out from the sky now? On the top of the lighthouse, up the side of that little line maybe, just to make it show. And this is just little bits. You could even make it kind of dripping down if it's snow covered there. The little railing on our lighthouse, black, which you won't see much, but I can highlight it. Well, you'll see it over the light part. So it would have a railing across here. So I'm going to make the little railing, but you won't see it till we start getting on top of the light. But that's okay. That's all you need to see at night. It has a little bit of a line like that. So that's going to work for that. I put little dots just as a decorative thing. I didn't really need to know why, but little dots. And this is what I put. Oh, you know what? These little dots I put along. I'm going to put shadow first and then put the dots on. The house is gingerbready. It has all that scallopy woodworking under on the edge. So in order to get that to show up, I'm taking just a little of blue on my brush, kind of watery, and I want to just put a shadow, a little bit of a shadow, more than what we had left just by using the washi paint, under the eaves, under here, under here. Here there's a little shadow, here, under here. Any place I want a little bit more of a shadow, I've just put a little bit of a wash of that blue, because when I go on, I'm not going to paint all the little scroll work on that little gingerbread trim. I'm going to simply just take my brush and just do white dots. And now it shows up on that blue wash. If I put it without the blue wash, it wouldn't show up as much. If I was doing this as the Nubble lit for Christmas, I would just do these little dots in colored lights all on the trim. Oh, Patricia, thank you. I amaze myself sometimes because it's not always, you know, just, I should work a little quicker sometimes, I think, but we always finish, right? So let's work on the snow now. Actually, there's a little black roof on this guy, so we'll put it on just so we know where it is. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of that dark blue around these buildings. This window, where this window was white, it just needs a tiny little blob of gray in the middle. It's kind of the opposite of the other windows. This time we're just going to go a little bit in the middle. Now I'm going to do the snow. I'm going to do kind of what we did for the building. I'm going to just go on with some white, leaving some of the darks showing through. Hi, Cindy. And so I dipped into blue. I meant white. We'll do white. Okay. And I'm going to have to do it this way. I want to get a nice line of snow across the base of the house. And this has just kind of been snowing and it's kind of built up. I'm going to be careful just to go up to the edge of my blue circle here. And I'm just going a little heavy with some of the white, so it's almost like little snowbanks. So I'm going to just kind of get a little bit here and there. Heavier in front of the buildings, and I'll come back and add 2 or 3 times with the paint just to get it a little heavier sometimes. But I wanted a little washy and a little blue still around the buildings because we want to have them stand out. And then there's just going to be snow on the top. We're going to make some quick little rock shapes there with just, we will need some brown, but we're going to make some rocks underneath. There's a rock wall surrounding this. This is actually a little island, it's separated from the land, this lighthouse. It is, you know, you have to get to it by boat, very short ride, but if you're interested, look up the Nubble light. It's really a cool lighthouse. I'm putting a little blue shadow on that top there. Okay, so this is just the snowy bits, and I am going to let that dry, maybe do some blue shading like we did on the house, and a little more heavier white. But The rocks are just going to give you an impression of rocks. We're not worrying about painting all the individual rocks. Oh, okay. Like I said, we're here. So Handmade and Springstead, we'll see you when you come back for the replay. So I'm going to just put some dark colors. I'm going to actually start with just like a dark black. And it's going to hardly show, but it's going to tell me where my rocks are. So this is just this little rocky, Maine, we're all rocky coast. So we're just going to put that in a little bit here as the black where the rocks will go. I might, while it's wet, take a little bit of white just on that dirty brush. And all I'm going to do to get it to look like rocks is just a few little impressions of dabbing. The quicker you do it, the better, because you're not fussing and looking at it and trying to paint particular rocks. We'll do that. I'm going to go with a little brown. And we'll go back to that and touch it up if we need to. But it's just basically dark background, some blue-gray, some brown. And I'm just dabbing it in with the little square brush, almost like these are just little rock shapes. We'll come back and finesse it a little, but for now, it's enough to kind of give you an idea of that, because I want to paint the ocean because it's so fun and super easy, you guys. We have 15 more minutes, and look at how much we've done, and I'm kind of working on the slow side this morning. I feel like I'm kind of like, you know, kind of taking my time, and anyway, so I love the Liquitex Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green for so many colors to mix. I will usually start people in my lessons with more of the basic primary colors, mixing your colors. Yes, I also like to buy all the colors, you know, but you don't need to. You can start with your basics and mix. And these two make gorgeous turquoises of all sorts and beautiful New England watercolor, or any place. I use the equal parts for the New England, kind of a dark blue-green, but if you add a little more white and a little more green, you could get that turquoise water you find in the Caribbean. So I do love those two colors. I use them a lot. I'm just going into both of them now on my brush and just kind of streaking back and forth. When I paint water, I do streak the paint back and forth just because it will look more like water, like waves and things. So I've just got a little bit of that blue and green mixed there. If I just take the same dirty brush, take a little white, start streaking it across, I can get some beautiful shades. That's really more the Caribbean water. But it kind of shows up nice. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to leave it. If I dry off my brush on my paper towel, still dirty brush, take a little white just on the corner of that brush. And I'm painting upside down, you guys. You could just kind of take that and kind of just get some waves without thinking about it too much, saying, oh, waves, they're too hard to paint. Look at the photo, examine it, try to get it. Step away even from your reference. If you're outside, when I'm outside painting, I squint my eyes. You're looking for lights and darks. You're not looking to make it look like a photograph. So you can just get a little few waves in there, try to get them, you know, sort of straight across. If I want to take a brush, a small brush, this is teeny, but anyway, and a lot of times in my water, I love to put sparkles. So I will go and just put little dots, maybe some lines, but almost like it's the spray or the water. You know, when you see those sparkles on it, you know, it's kind of deceiving because I don't know if you'd see sparkles much on a nighttime scene, but let's pretend maybe there's a full moon or something. But anyways, when I do water, I like to get a little heavier, just a little heavier line, stop, start, not a perfect line. It almost is like when the wave is turning. Now, I would get much more detailed with my waves if I was doing a big painting of just the ocean, but just what we've done there, I think, is enough. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Diane. Thank you guys for, I was going to say thank you guys for shopping with us. I guess I think I'm on the home shopping channel. Thank you guys for watching. Heavy white lines up here along the roof will just help that stand out against that little bit of a dark shadow. A few more little lines for some rocks. As that dry, we can take the same colors almost, but it'll just show up a little more because some of it's dry. Actually, I took a little bit of paint, like almost a dry brush, and I like the texture I get of the rocks with that little bit of dry brush of that highlight. And really, truly, the quicker you do it and the less you think about it sometimes, the better off. So, you know, just a little bit of the brighter here and there. I could do some blue. I like to use a blue-gray sometimes, or a light blue in my rocks. If it was a big rock wall, I'd put little reflections almost of lots of things. I might, if it's flowers, I might take and put a little of the purple or pink in them. But here I'm just going and doing, these could be just a little smaller rocks. My brown got a little lost. Let's go and brighten that up a little bit. So a little brown, I could take a little white to get kind of a lighter brown, and I could sort of highlight, that's too white, but some of those spots. I'm not thinking carefully too much about, okay, I gotta be careful, there's a rock here and I'm putting this one in between. You don't have to get that careful, just kind of pop it on there. Stand back, look at it later. If you think there's something wonky going on, hold it in front of a mirror or take a picture of your work. Honestly, I see more mistakes when I look at my video when I'm working than I do if I am just painting. I need to, it's amazing when you take a photo of it, what you see that might be a little off. So that's a little tip there too. I'm going to get a little heavier on some of that white now in that foreground. And as I go, I am trying to, if I know this is dry, I can maybe try to erase some of my chalk lines. I just like to neaten it up. Just ordinary chalk what I'm sketching with sometimes. Just makes it easier to erase. Some chalk lines here. And that white. So we want to just get it heavier in places like it's a little snowbank. And I can actually, let me do what I did with the house. I'm taking just a brush with water on it. Taking a little blue, kind of pat it off on my palette here a little bit, just to kind of make just a little wash of blue just on one edge of my brush. So maybe there'd be a little bit of a shadow here under that house. You know, I could just do a little bit of washes here and there so that when I put the heavy white on, it is, there's some little shadows, a little shadow here maybe. I'm going pretty blue here. Sometimes we go more of a gray blue. But right around the house, maybe a little, let me get a little bit of black in there with it so it's not so bright. Around the little house, which that just got a little wonky. It was my upside down painting. Do that. Yeah, I'm going to get a little bit darker blue around. Could even get a little darker on one side of the lighthouse. That helps it look a little round too, doesn't it? Okay, and again, I think one more little dab of some of the red because it's just hard to cover that sometimes. I want it just to be a little, almost like there maybe is a full moon up here somewhere, and so that there's a little bit of a brighter bit on the roof. I love contrast. I love taking darks and then popping some bright red, bright colors right in with it for your highlights. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, the black. There's a couple of lines on the lighthouse, the light itself. Like you've seen, they're kind of divided into sections sometimes. Okay, the heavier whites now for that snowbanks. Okay, look at this. It seems like usually the time flies by, and this has been comfortable being able to paint here at a nice pace. In case you're not familiar, I do a lot of in-person but also online classes, and I also have two art memberships. They're really cool if you want to get yourself motivated and paint a little more. We have one membership where we meet 3 times a month. Sometimes it's live by Zoom, sometimes it's recorded. It's a nice community to belong to. Everyone's there to encourage each other, and it's a small membership, so it's more intimate, and I'm usually right there to answer questions that you might have, suggestions of what you might want to paint. We paint a variety of things. We paint still lifes, landscapes, animals, whimsical, more detailed. We run the gamut because I like to have something for everyone. Not that you have to paint all of the things. It's 3 years now of paintings in the library that you have access to, and you can just go back and browse. I want to paint animals. I want to paint flowers today, beaches, whatever. You can find the lessons, step-by-step lessons. You get a color palette of what you'll need for colors. You will get the video, which you can stop and start. Even if it's a live session, it's recorded. most of the time I remember. Sometimes I forget, but when I re-record, I'm taking a little bit of that orange into my brown because I like the way that is just making some of those rocks show up. So anyways, if you have any questions, it's very reasonable. You can stop and start whenever you want. But people, I've had members, and some of them are on here that have been with me all 3 years, and some newer people. I also have one if you want to just do a little painting. It's just a recorded painting every month that comes from the membership. So it's a nice new painting every month. You get the recording and, like I said, the color palette and all of that. You also have a little group online that you can post your paintings and things. So if you are interested, I always say I'll put it in the comments. I'll try to put it in the comments. But if that sounds interesting to you, just send me a message even, and I can just share the information with you, and you could try it out. Other than that, on my website, I do have individual classes for sale. But you really do save if you are in the membership. So this is just kind of a washy bit of white for the snow. It doesn't look terrible, but it needs to be finished. And I've got some blue-gray shadows in there. Oh, good. And did you see, you saw, Pam, you saw the one we did last time, the pink one. So that's the last one we did. And this one is up in Maine. This is Pemaquid Light. This one is Nubble Light. You can certainly make up lighthouses too. You don't have to always do actual ones, but I do like to do actual ones. So I'm taking the paint on my brush right from the palette, rather thick, and just kind of giving myself little, I'm just thinking snowbanks. I'm channeling snowbanks. I don't want to channel snowbanks, but although I do want to paint some winter and Christmas things, so keep your eye out. I will be getting into my favorite Halloween. You know what? Actually, I did last year, and you could probably find it out there. If it's not in the membership, I have a lot of also a lot of videos on YouTube, so a lot of free videos for you to try and see if you like to paint with me. If you see the way I teach, you might try some of the YouTubes. I did a fall lighthouse with a Halloween lighthouse, I think, last year. Maybe, did I have a witch in the sky or black and orange in it? So maybe we'll do another fall and Christmas lighthouse painted on these wood slices. So you can see, you can just kind of dab that on where you want. It could be rough sometimes too, like dry brush, just so it has that texture. But I'm being a little careful to leave some of the shadows, but you know what, you don't have to worry, because if you went and overdid the white and then you saw none of the shadows, simply let it dry and go over with a little shading of the gray blue again. I think I want to put some, maybe the water is coming up on the rocks a little bit. It's kind of just a straight line there, so I'm going to take and maybe put some that's going to come up there, so it's almost like a little wave breaking. And this is the little ornament, if you just kind of popped in. That's the little ornament. I do them on the little wood slices, but I thought, let's try painting it on a big one. And as the paint dries, you will find it does sort of fade away sometimes. So I might want to go back in here with just this little white, since it's on my brush already, kind of a dry brush. I could go into the rocks and just give them some white highlights. And what I love the best is to either spatter snow afterwards. I'm just going to place it on. Sometimes I'll just take like a little stylus, and I just want to place the snowflakes. Or this could very well just be stars in the sky. Sometimes I'll take an old toothbrush and I will just spatter it with snow, and that's really a fun way to make snow, or even stars sometimes. Sometimes I like the graphic look of placing the little dots. So it's another way to make the painting your own, to just take different techniques I use and combine them. Many times in class I will teach you something, we'll do a still life, and it's like, well, you could just take the apples and you can make a painting with that. It could be a separate painting. You could, just break the things apart. You're learning how to paint things. I encourage you to start designing your own paintings. I have a little video series on sourcing inspiration and designing your own painting. After a while, it's nice to get the tracer and follow along, but as you get a little more skilled, you might want to just find a photo of your own, and we do that sometimes. Bring in your own photo and we'll paint it. We did it with Paint Your Pet in our membership. Everybody sent me a painting of their pet. I did a tracer for them, and then we painted together, and I just helped everybody with their pets. It was really a lot of fun. I think this is pretty much done, you guys. What I would do, like I say, I put a finish. You can see this one has just a little bit of a satin sheen to it. It's just a Minwax Polycryl, and it's a water-based varnish. Goes on a little milky, and then it dries clear. It's great for, I put it on my tin products. We just did, and I wish I had one handy to show you. I just did the class in person Saturday where we took the garden, the paver stones, and painted them to look like books. If you look back on my page, you might see some of the samples. I'll post more pictures of the class itself. It went over well. People loved it. You can take a book cover. What I do is I trace the book cover on the rock. You can design your own. We had people design their own. If your kids wrote a story, you might want to put an illustration of that on the cover, and it could be with their name. They would love that. I'm going to be popping off at 10, but there's another crafter coming right on. So sometimes if I'm on a device, I need to refresh the screen. Sometimes it comes right up, but if you don't see someone right away in a minute or two, just pull down, refresh your screen, and I might play around with this a little bit, but I think it looks pretty well done. Pam, thank you. And you know what? Did you see how simple? I did not struggle. I didn't sketch little circles and say, oh, this is a rock. There's a little rock wedged in here. Dab, 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 step away. It really makes painting more fun. So it's 10. I'm going to say goodbye. Next Monday, 9:15, I'll see you again. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.